There were two important criteria for suspending our disbelief and enjoying the new movie Pete's Dragon, and I'm happy to report that both criteria were satisfied. We had to love that dragon, Elliot, and we do, absolutely beautifully rendered by Weta Digital and probably an army of different people around the world to make us care about this big giant green dragon that has the ability to camouflage itself in all kinds of wonderful ways. But we also had to love Pete, the young boy who befriends this dragon. And Oaks Fegley, who plays this young boy, does a fantastic job making us care about him. He's kind of a little bit Tarzan-like, found in the woods, who has had to fend for himself. We uncover early on in the story the tragic circumstances as to why this young Pete has ended up all alone, or conceivably all alone in the forest. But it's this dragon that befriends him and protects him, this super-powered being that really elevates this fantasy and makes this, kind of worth the revisit, because this is a movie that has obviously got some history at Disney. It was a 70s kind of cartoony musical. I saw it when I was a young boy, and I loved this movie back in the day. So I approached this new movie, this remake, with a little bit of trepidation because it so easily could have gone over the deep end with cheese and kind of a saccharine whitewash. And it does sort of float in that area at times. It does feel a little artificial in a couple of places. Certainly there's a lot of performance that's required of these young actors that are in this film, and sometimes eye lines are off, and you can feel Bryce Dallas Howard kind of working overtime to be really cheery and really positive and super golly gee whiz nice, and it does feel a little bit phony.
When I was a little girl, I wanted to live in the forest more than anything. I loved being out there. It was so fun with the squirrels and the birds, the trees. So when I grew up, I made it my job to protect the woods and everything in them, which I suppose includes you.
But it kind of fits the tone and the mood. I mean, this is a movie that's definitely engineered to hit a specific age bracket, a couple of years older than this, and it would be kind of veering into Stranger Things territory a little bit more, or classic Spielberg like E.T. or Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but it's not that. It skews a little bit younger. My daughter's only 4 years old, and I know that she would be kind of terrified and saddened by some of the material in this movie. And I think this is something that it depends on the sort of emotional maturity of your child, but this is something that I think roughly a 5 to 7 year old or 8 year old is kind of hitting that sweet spot. But listen, there's a lot of charm in this. It's star-studded, right from Robert Redford, who does a terrific job as this believer of a grandfather who has some personal history with dragons, and he does a really, really charming kind of underlying performance throughout this thing. Does some narration, but also shows up in some very key moments, and he brings some gravitas and some heart, and he just looks great. He's an older actor, but man, he still commands the screen. He's fantastic to see in this movie. Wes Bentley does a commendable job portraying Ray LaMontagne, the sort of folk art rock singer. No, I'm kidding. He just has the beard and the plaid and everything all down perfectly in this movie. And he evokes some empathy, and you do care for this character, and it's obvious that he cares for the kids in the movie. The interesting performance, I think, in this one is Karl Urban, who kind of plays the foil, the sort of aggressive logger who will, stop at nothing to take down the dragon because it freaks him the hell out, and he wants to kind of figure out if he can make some money with this thing. And I thought that was a pretty fun performance. It was a little over the top, a little hammy for him. But I think he was having a good time, and he's a fun element in this movie. But I got to tell you, man, it's that core connection between Pete and Elliot the dragon that just really tears at your heart. You can see it coming from a mile away. This is definitely in that genre of the Iron Giant or E.T. It's not quite up to that caliber. It's not quite up to that sophistication. But, there is a truthfulness there, and there is a real bond that's created for us on screen. At one point, Pete falls asleep on the dragon's belly, and it is the cutest thing in the world. And I could really, feel as much as you want to kind of go in with your cynicism and your skepticism that this thing is going to work, you could really feel it kind of washing away as the movie progresses, which is exactly how you want a movie like this to kind of affect you.
Elliot.
And by the end of it, you know, I was happy that I was wearing my 3D glasses, not because this movie needs to be seen in 3D, but you know, I was wiping away a couple tears, especially because the kid beside me, this young boy, this sort of independent, powerful young boy that had waited for his father to come back all alone. He was coming back with popcorn. He was totally cool, by the way, but he was tearing up and crying and sniffling, and his dad was consoling him. And over on my right, I had a group of women that had gone to see the movie together, and they were all crying, and I may have been tearing up a little bit. And this is you know, standard manipulative fare, but God, I think you'd be hard pressed to, if you have a heart in you, not to be moved by the filmmaking in this thing. And you know, another thing that I really love in this movie too is the fact that there are no cell phones. It's kind of loosely set in the 70s. There are some costume sort of effects and old vehicles and things like that, but they don't really put the date on it. They don't place it really. It's sort of this northwestern town. It looks like it was shot in BC. I'm not sure if it was. Lots of scenery like this all around me. But I love the kind of glowiness of it. The cinematography is sweet, and it really sort of helps to make the effects, especially of the dragon soaring overhead with Pete yelling on his back, and you know, some of the cool effect shots that they have there. But there also is a glow coming off all of the people and the connections that they're making on screen. And one of the things that really stands out in this movie is the lack of cell phones and the lack of people having smartphones to kind of document every single thing that's going on, because you just know if a dragon showed up in the woods, there would be a million YouTube videos of it. And that doesn't exist in the fiction of this story, and it was kind of refreshing. That and Stranger Things this summer, seeing people actually having to pick up corded phones and call each other and bicycle over to see each other. I'm kind of digging that. And I'm kind of digging Pete's Dragon. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Hey, thanks for checking out that video on our EPN channel. It's just one small part of the things that we make around here. So if you liked it, don't forget to check out some of our other vids and hit that subscribe button.